We all come into relationships with unspoken needs and expectations, and the degree to which these are met plays a big role in how satisfied we feel in our relationships. What's really interesting is that many of us may be oblivious to our needs. They kind of show up when we get upset with someone, but we may find it quite difficult to identify them outside of these situations. For some people, the opposite can be true. They may know exactly what they want, but their expectations can be very rigid or unrealistic even. So neither being unaware of our needs nor having unrealistic expectations serves our relationships well. Both can lead to things like misunderstandings, unnecessary conflict, and a growing sense of unfulfillment. So it's important that we learn how to identify our needs, determine whether they are realistic, and communicate them in healthy ways. This is what I'll be sharing with you in today's video. If you're tuning in for the first time today, welcome. My name is Kirsty and I am the founder of Growth Seekers Club. I post content weekly on topics related to personal growth and development. So if this is something that interests you, please give this video a like and subscribe to my channel. Now, let's get into today's video. So the first thing I want to talk about is how to identify your needs. Now, I just want to say that if you don't know what your needs are, then you're definitely not alone in this. Sometimes this can be a challenge if we grew up in an environment where our needs were ignored or dismissed, or if we had to put others' needs above our own consistently. Besides, if there was nobody to role model healthy emotional expression or teach us how to identify and prioritize our needs, we can understand how it can be so hard for us to do this as adults. So learning to recognize your needs starts with self-reflection. It's a good idea to look at what makes you feel fulfilled in your relationships and also what makes you feel dissatisfied. Here are 3 questions that you can ask yourself. If you have a notebook or journal, feel free to write them down and answer them later. There's also a free resource that I've linked in the description that has a whole list of questions you can work through to help you gain better clarity on your needs. When you've answered the questions, write a list of your top 10 or so relationship needs. State them clearly and concisely. For example, I need honest and open communication, where we both listen actively and acknowledge and respect each other's viewpoints. I need emotional support and understanding when I'm going through tough times, without any judgment or criticism. I need respect for my personal boundaries and space, and the freedom to pursue my own interests and goals outside of the relationship. Take your time with this and make sure that you can clearly articulate your needs, because when it comes to actually communicating them, having this step nailed is going to be extremely helpful. Okay, now let's move on and talk about how to tell if your needs are realistic. So there's a myth out there that tells us that having needs makes us needy. And this is just not true. I want to be clear that having needs in a relationship is normal. It's normal to expect things like respect, trust, healthy communication, and emotional support. Problems only creep in when those needs are unrealistic and therefore unhealthy. And this is where the whole myth that having needs is needy comes into play. So where do we draw the line between healthy and unhealthy needs? Well, it can help to understand that healthy needs do not violate others' boundaries or harm the relationship, whereas unhealthy needs do. I've put together some questions you can ask yourself to help determine whether your needs are healthy or not, and you can find it linked in the description. But I just want to give you a few questions for now to get you started. So for each of those needs you identified earlier, ask yourself, 1. Have I considered my partner's needs and personal boundaries? 2. Are my expectations fair and realistic? And 3. Would these needs contribute positively to the relationship? I want to give you some examples of unrealistic needs so that you can better recognize them. So unhealthy needs can look like expecting your partner to be available 24/7 and giving them ultimatums like they need to answer your texts within, say, 5 minutes, regardless of the circumstances. Another one could be expecting your partner to be your sole source of emotional support. So let's say you're arguing with a friend. An unrealistic need would be expecting your partner to stay home to comfort you, even though they made plans to have dinner with their family. So these are just 2 examples, but as you can see, unhealthy needs usually encroach on other people's boundaries and put strain on the relationship. If you've realized that your needs are unhealthy, try and see if you can reassess them and make some adjustments. If you're finding this hard, you can always speak to a counselor or therapist and get that extra support. Now, let's get on with the final topic of today's video, which is how to communicate your needs in healthy ways. So, usually in relationships, unmet needs show up as complaints. You might say to your partner, "You never listen to me." But underneath this complaint, your unmet need is that you want to feel heard and understood. So really, the key to communicating your needs and getting them met is to understand what you need, be fully transparent about it, and make a request. Let me walk you through the process. So step 1 is to understand what you need, right? So imagine your partner has done something that's made you feel upset. Let's say they were using their phone at the dinner table. When you dig into your feelings, you realize that you're feeling ignored because your partner hasn't respected your need for quality time. Great. We can move on to step 2, which is where you share your feelings and needs honestly but respectfully. And the way to do this is to use an I statement first to express your feelings, followed by a value statement to address your unmet needs. So instead of, "You're always on your phone," try, "I feel disconnected when we use our phones at dinner. The time we spend together is really important to me, especially during meals." Then the last step is to make a request, which is where you tell the other person how they can meet your needs. For example, "Can we keep our meals phone free so we can make the most of this time to connect?" Give this a try and watch how it transforms your relationships. Being able to identify, communicate, and ask for what you need can be extremely empowering when it's done in the right way. I hope that this video has helped you to see this and has given you some actionable tips that you can start practicing right away. If you did find this video helpful, please like it and subscribe to my channel for more content like this. If you're interested in learning about your attachment style, you can take the free quiz, which is linked in the description below. You can also download my free communication guide, And if you are interested in coaching, you can book a discovery call with me. Thanks again for watching, and I will see you next week.